stop buying your altcoins right now. I can't stress that enough. Why? Because I know most people watching my channel are beginners, or at least people that are unfamiliar with the concept I am going to introduce to a lot of you today. And so you need to stop buying altcoins, because if you don't understand this and are going to have all the facts presentable today, you are literally going to lose thousands of dollars in the 2025 bull run. For even some of you very ballsy and profitable people out there, you're going to lose millions. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Now, it can be summarized in one word that isn't as sexy as people would like. However, I'm telling you right now, it's up there with as important things like buying the actual projects themselves. And that word is 3 letters: tax. Now, I'm going to bring you across to the chart right now. I'm going to show you guys in the breakdown, interactively, by the way, of what the hell I'm actually talking about here, okay? So again, I can't stress to you enough how literally crucial this is to understand, because if you're like me, in the last bull run, any profits I made, I lost 50%, or at least not 50%, but I was taxed an additional 50% of what I could have saved. Let me explain to you. I'm actually going to give you some examples here from a government website that goes through exactly what I'm talking about. And for all of you in a similar position to me, or at least a similar country to Australia, it's such a thing called capital gains tax, where you're taxed for selling an asset sooner than 12 months. This is the same for real estate, stocks, any sort of equity market, including, of course, cryptocurrency. Now, crypto being an industry that appeals to most sort of people, what happens? It's known for a quick get-rich scheme, and in that case, people tend to buy and sell in quick succession, and therefore, they lose a lot of their money due to capital gains. And the interesting thing is, with capital gains tax, or with tax in general, what happens? Typically have to wait to a certain point in the year to lodge that claim, okay? And so what happens then? The tax man saying, hey, you owe us X amount of money, and if you've spent that money, if you've been a naughty person, all right, and you've spent it, like I have recently found out with myself, you're going to owe the government a lot of money that you cannot afford at that current time. So this is crucial, all right? And I really would suggest anyone that hasn't done this already, you need to pay attention, right? So let me, of course, go ahead and show you just how important this really is. So what we're looking at here is obviously a chart of, well, of course, 2018's bull run, 2021's bull run, and what I expect 2025's bull run more or less to look like. It's going to make sense in a second. So what we have to remember here is to find tax, to find when we should last be buying, to mitigate that capital gains tax. Again, capital gains tax pretty much means you are taxed on the whole entire profit of whatever you make. So let's just say you buy Bitcoin at 100,000 and then you sell it 200,000, you've made $100,000 profit. Well, if that's within 12 months, you are taxed on all of that profit, 100% of it. So your tax, that all goes into your, salary, okay? And whatever kind of tax bracket you end up at, that's what you get taxed at. Whereas capital gains tax, if you mitigate that, so if you wait 12 months, what happens then is instead of being, tax on 100% of that gains, you lose 50% of it. So you're only taxed on 50%. Yes, it's not ideal. Still, you're getting taxed on half of it. But again, 50% is a lot of money, especially if you can save yourself being taxed on $50,000. Very important in this case, okay? Now, a lot of us will make quite a bit of money this bull run, so I need you to pay attention. So with that being said, okay, now we're looking at the chart here, and based on historic events, we can see the halving happened back in 2016. Of course, we had the bull run. Same thing happened over here. We had the, the pretty much bear market here. We had about 2.5 years. Then we had the next halving. And from the halving, we had exactly the same period of time from here. So from the halving to the bull run, we had the same here, okay? So we had exactly to the day, 548-day gap, which is mind-blowing. So what we're going to take from this is, okay, so from the halving we expect to happen in April of next year, which is April 1st, 2024. Again, we don't know the exact date, but I'm going to use April 1st as a rough guide here. I'd like to briefly interrupt this program with a very special announcement. Guys, if you wanted to support all the hard work I put into making these videos for you, then there's 2 links down below I'm going to suggest you take a look at. The first is a sign-up link to BitGet, which is one of the best exchanges in the space. These guys have a $300 million user protection fund and proof of reserve, so they're one of the safest exchanges and is the one I personally use for all my crypto investments. And for you non-traders out there, for you guys like me who prefer to invest and acquire the most important information and from the most reputable sources, then Token Metrics have also sponsored this channel, guys. They've offered you guys a free subscription to their basic plan, which is typically worth $20 a month or basically $200 a year. So please, if you take your investing seriously and want the most up-to-date information, go check out the links down below, guys. I've got you covered, and thank you for supporting me. Now, with that said, back to the video. Well, we can pretty much do the same thing. Roughly speaking, right? We can pretty much pull out 548 days, and then we come to the date of the 30th of October. Why this is important is that what we do just like a maths problem, is we backtrack, okay? So we got the 30th of October as like probably the earliest time, okay? And we just go back 12 months. And back 12 months, we land here, okay? This is what I call the red zone. This is the no-go zone. If you're buying any cryptocurrencies in this point, so pretty much October 2024, you are almost saying to yourself without any hesitation that you're happy to take capital gains tax. You're happy to get taxed on all of your profits you make, period. Okay. And if you're happy with that, fine. There's a strategy out. We all want to buy micro caps, sell them really quickly. That's a strategy in of itself. Fair enough. But I'm guessing on your large holds, on your holds like, you go in on HBAR, QNT, Chainlink, so on and so forth, you're not going to want that. So what I tell people to do is you must have your last positions in before this date. But in saying that, again, we come back to the same problem, right? And the problem is no one knows when that top is going to actually happen. And so what do? Well, we give ourselves some buffer room. Now, as I figured out here, I believe a good amount of buffer room is 3 to 4 months, just in case. So we pretty much bring that back to July 2024 and June 2024, okay? So that, in my opinion, gives us between 3 to 4 months buffer after that 12 months so that we're not going to ever, obviously, get copped with capital gains, okay? And it's very, very important you understand this, because let me show you what I'm talking about here. Now, this is Australia, but I must admit, for all you, anyone else out there in a foreign country, right? America, European country, for example, South America, whatever it might be, you're going to probably have a very similar sort of setup as this, right? If you have capital gains, chances are it's going to be very similar. Yes, you're going to have definitely nuances that are different, but let me just kind of take you through what I'm talking about here, because again, capital gains tax does apply to a lot of people. So this is again from the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office themselves, okay? So the most common use of crypto is an investment, in which case the crypto assets are subject to capital gains tax. So over here, you may be able to reduce capital gains tax using the CGT discount if you hold your crypto asset for at least 12 months. Very important. If you sold assets during the year, such as property or shares, crypto as well, you need to obviously work out your capital gains, because trust me, I'm speaking from a very recent experience here. When you lodge your tax, they're going to come knocking on your door, and if you don't have that money, well, you got to owe us the money, right? You got to pay us back. And if you spent it because you think, hey, it doesn't apply to me, it's all sweet, trust me, they'll track you and they know that you've made that money. If you've used a centralized exchange, no matter how decentralized you are, the minute you pull it off a KYC exchange, they can trace everything back to you. So this is what happens when you sell an asset. So if you made more than you initially put in, so you added to your initial cost, you made a capital gain. Okay, so you've gained for your subject, anything you make past your initial investment, that is subject to capital gains. So you've made money, okay? Any less, and you actually have a capital gains loss, which actually means that can then be deducted not just from your crypto tax, but from your actual entire tax, from your entire employment, right? So if you lost $300,000, as far as I'm aware, you make $300,000, that brings it down. Okay, that brings your actual tier bracket, we'll look at in a second, down, which is very important. Saves you lots of money. Okay, so you pay tax on your net capital gains. This is number 1, your total capital gains. 2, less any capital losses. As I said before, if you've made a loss, if you made a profit on Bitcoin $100,000 and you lost $100,000 on some shitcoin, it balances out to zero, okay? Less any discount you're entitled to on your gains. Now, very importantly here, there's a capital gains tax discount of 50% for Australian individuals who own an asset for 12 months or more. Again, not all of you are Australian, a very small portion of you are, but nevertheless, it does apply typically if you do have some sort of capital gains, okay, to some degree. Now, again, this means if we go back to the page here, that 12 months is this important time frame. Now, I don't have to tell you guys this. You can literally find this out for yourself. If you go through this, if you think, oh, it's whatever, I'm fine, you're going to be hit with a massive tax bill, and that's what I'm trying to make you avoid. So this is the tax bracket. Now, most countries have this. At least Commonwealth countries, I know, definitely do have this. So obviously, New Zealand, of course, the UK, Canada. And so we come over here, right? So taxable income itself. So it's interesting because this isn't like a set and forget. This is actually what we call a tier list. Okay, so what happens here is on your income from $0 to $18,200, you pay nothing. Okay, nothing. But then you take the difference from the $18,000 right up to the $45,000, and any money in this bracket, you get charged 19 cents to the dollar. Every dollar you make, 19 cents is taken out, okay? So then, I think what they've done here, they've done a pretty cool thing. This is kind of new from at least the last time I checked it, was that they've given you a total. So for every single person out there, no matter how rich or how much money you've made in the year, so far you would have been taxed $5,092, right? Because it's tiered. Plus now, in this new tax bracket from $45,000 to $120,000, you're charged 32.5 cents for every dollar over 45 grand. So on and so forth. The next tier is 35 cents, 37 cents rather, And then from there, the top tier, $880,000 and over is 45 cents to the dollar. So again, right up to this bracket, you would have already had to pay back $51,667. And then again, over here, it's 45 cents. So you can see why it makes a massive difference. Now, this takes into account every single bit of money you've made. The government wants it all, right? So if you've got an investment property like I do, if you've got stocks and you receive dividends, anything like that, you've received money in your account, this all goes into this bracket. And with this bracket, of course, you're going to have crypto, because this is where we make heaps of money, right? We can turn 10 grand into a couple $1 million. That's how crazy it is. You are going to be subject to obviously paying that $51,000 based on all this, plus then 45 cents for every single dollar. Yes, that is right, 45%, which means almost half of that is given away to the thing. So you can imagine now, when we talk about capital gains, if you made, like, let's just use simple maths here. If you pretty much put in $1 million, right, you'd be taxed all of that, $51,000, and then 40, so let's just say it's like comes to like 950,000 to be simple. Well, then you'd be taxed 45 cents out of all of that. So you'd be taxed 45%. So you're pretty much going to diminish about $400,000 or $425,000 from that. Boom, gone. And then if you didn't wait the 12 months, like we're trying to avoid on the chart over here, if you decided to all that money, buy all of that within this period here, within these 12 months, guess what happens? Well, then all that money is actually, all of that is taxed on top of it, right? So what happens here is, in that same situation, for example, if you had that $1 million, right, but you waited 12 months, that $1 million isn't going into this pool. What's happening then is the $500,000, 50% is going in this pool. So you can see how much money you've saved already, right? You've secured yourself pretty much $500,000. You're not getting taxed on that 50%. So it's very, very, very important you guys pay attention to this, okay? Capital gains is a real damn thing, especially here in Australia, it's 50%. I know for America, it's a little bit different, and you guys have, like, it's weird, like you have sovereign laws, I believe, in each different state, but over here, it's for everyone. And so with all that said, guys, please share this video around. It does no better for you or I to keep this for ourselves. As I said before, it's not crypto we're talking about here. It's saving ourselves on tax. We're fighting against the big boys. We're sticking it to the man. All right. So there's no benefit for us just holding off. So please share it to at least one person, of course, and it does help me out too. Okay. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Take good care of yourselves. Don't avoid tax. That's probably a bad buzzword to use. Just mitigate it, and have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.